This is Randy with a short video on a really important topic. Nothing is faster than the speed of trust. That's a quote from a book, The Speed of Trust, the one thing that changes everything, from Stephen Covey. This is the son, by the way, of Dr. Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I believe that's true, that nothing's faster than the speed of trust. And I believe after you've watched this short video on trust management, you're likely to agree. Definition is often a good place to start on any topic. My favorite definition of trust is at the top of the screen there. It's a state of readiness for unguarded interaction with someone or something. In the footer, there's the source of that definition. It's a constructive trust by Dr. Dwayne Tway. And in his dissertation, he asserts 3 components are present in the building of trust. I'll point out that the last 2 of the 3 are, in fact, perceptions. Those 3 components are the capacity for trusting, the perception of competence, and the perception of intentions. So what does that mean in the real world? How trust is built or earned over time. In the constructive trust, what's being asserted is that when trust-capable people perceive over time that competent effort is being applied towards a shared intent or vision of success, they will over time build trust. I think it's important to point out at this point, on the right side, there's some images that are shown there. There's different entities that are capable of building or earning or losing trust. The top picture shows a person under a magnifying glass being observed for the 2 perceptions of competence and shared intention or shared vision. And the point here is that an individual can actually build and maintain trust. Similarly, right below that, companies such as Tesla or Apple, companies like that, have demonstrated they can build enormous loyalty and trust in their customer base to the extent that they create movements. One of the most effective ways to build trust is to align people on a movement, which is nothing more than a shared vision of success, and then to execute with competence. Processes can be viewed as trustworthy, and trust can be built and maintained with a process. Very common that when an existing process, though imperfect, is at least trusted, it's worked over time for years perhaps, and a new process is introduced, people don't necessarily trust the new process. And there's a lot of things that can be done to transfer that trust correctly and make it a trustworthy process. Very common business problem to try to get trust transferred from an old to a new process. And then finally, the bottom image is talking about artifacts, things like contracts, requirements documents. There are a number of artifacts that can either in themselves be deemed trustworthy or in fact be used as a tool to build or transfer trust. So given that, what is the best method to maintain or transfer trust? Very similar to the way it's built in the first place, is trust is maintained or transferred when a trust building perception of competent effort towards a shared intent or vision of success are demonstrated and provided over time to trust capable people. Scattered among those images, you'll see a number of examples of artifacts and actions and things that can help build trust or maintain trust if they're legitimately present and perceived. That's probably the essential point of this slide, is the importance of that perception. And the best example I can give is the status reports there. I've seen many times in my career as part of the either reorganization or restructuring of organizations that had to be improved. The trust that was present in the organization may have been virtually non-existent. And many times, just because, especially cross-functionally, when trust is not present or can't be built, many times you may have actually competent, very competent people who do in fact share a vision of success, working away in every respect to what should be a trusted organization or trusted effort. And the absence of a status report means that nobody's perceiving that. You get the image of somebody sitting in a cubicle, working away, but nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows that they're competent, so therefore no trust is being built. Even worse, in the absence of that ongoing perception over time, even though everyone's competent and shares the vision, competence is actually lost in the absence of a status report. So let's think about an example and put these concepts to work on how trust is built and maintained. In the diagram on the left side of the screen, you see blue circles that represent business functions where trust can be earned. You can also see in the light blue arrows where trust is transferred, and in the red exclamation point, in this example, where a feature or capability message may be necessary to accomplish this. So given a pre-sales process, in this example, let's say this is a company that's selling a software product that can be installed for a company. It's going to require a significant investment. It's going to require integrations into the customer's systems and into their IT organization, and that the customer is going to have to change some workflows within their organization. So it's a fairly complex example, but it's a really good, a good example to explore these ideas. We have a pre-sales process where the customer is actually over time observing the people who are in the products and the company. They may do their own research, but over time they hopefully build trust and conclude, yes, this company what they're trying to do aligns with my vision of success. Their products support my vision of success. They seem to be competent in their product, and they're describing to me a competent process that's going to make this work. So if everything goes well, that trust that's been earned is transferred in the form of an artifact. It's a contract. It's built into the product, but it's communicated which parts of the product are going to be used as a feature capability message into the sale within the company. The company recognizes the contract as a trustworthy document or trustworthy, legally supportable artifact, and the product will do what the company has built it to do. Similarly, the company that has accepted the sale now has to have a handoff of this trust to a deployment team. So we've sold it. Now some technically competent people need to execute a deployment. What has to happen now is that the trust that's been earned by this selling team and pre-selling team must be transferred to the deployment team. And that's done perhaps internally, where internally trust is transferred that, yes, this is an order that we can do, and yes, these are requirements we can meet. And they may have an internal preparation meeting where they can hand off and transfer the trust and communicate the features and capabilities that were sold. Similarly, the customer, the selling group may have a deployment kickoff meeting with the customer, and they may bring their own people in, moving from the people who made the purchase. They may bring in operations and IT people who are now going to have to deploy it. They have their own internal trust to transfer that the people who bought this were competent and they shared a vision of success, and now it's time to deploy. There's a lot of trust transfer that can happen between the sale and the deployment phase. Likewise, once the deployment's done, a handoff needs to happen in some form to transfer the trust into the support group. A symptom, if this doesn't happen correctly, is that the customer never really trusts the support group to the extent that perhaps they should, and for the reasons that were previously discussed perhaps. And the customer will insist that the deployment team, the people who did the technical deployment, keep returning to help support the product. That's one way that can look. The support team over time may be observe the features and benefits and capabilities that the client's getting from the product and realize that there's some other features they can use. So they may transfer in the form of a sales lead to an expanding organization that can communicate product feature information back to pre-sales. And now we have a healthy cycle where the client's vision of success is understood by the company, the selling company, and both the client is succeeding, as is the selling company, because of this healthy trust environment that's been created. It's very important to call out small companies or companies that are perhaps launching new products may actually start the process with the pre-sales, the selling, and the deployment, and even support functions being the same people. The exact same people may do all of that. And that's fine for a while, but at some point you get enough customer base that just the support level requires that the deployment team is going to have to break apart separately and become a separate business function. That's when the trust transfer becomes essential. The proper thinking about trust and transfer of the trust. So similarly, the selling and pre-selling groups may actually split into separate organizations. And then you're in the world where this diagram with a fully functional scaled organization can grow. In the absence of this attention paid to trust management, the scalability of a business becomes a big problem. Businesses that are scaling and growing do understand and manage trust. So how's your organization doing in terms of trust? This video is designed to pause so you can discuss with your team. If you decide trust management's a topic that needs to be considered, you can stop this video and let it help guide a discussion. But I have a couple of questions here that I would recommend posing to the group to just get a sense of what the trust health is in your organization and what maybe needs to happen to address some concerns. The first question is, where and why is trust essential in your organization or life? A few thought starters listed here. I would recommend letting everyone spend 2 minutes just getting their first thoughts down on a piece of paper of where trust is essential, and then consolidate the list as a group and just see what the group is thinking about. So I would recommend pausing the video here and doing that. And then finally, on the second question, given the list that was just created, and other topics as well, what does broken trust look like? If it's not working, what's the symptoms of that? And are you seeing any of those symptoms within your organization, with your clients, or with the cross-functional components of organizations that interact with yours? I would posit that once that broken trust is identified and it's agreed that something needs to happen about that, just rewind and watch the first 8 minutes of this presentation, and it does get into what leading experts on the matter would suggest you could think about, a way to think about how to build trust with these perceptions of competence and shared vision, relentless sharing of competence and shared vision to build trust over time. Good luck. I look forward to speaking with you on this matter, and I wish you the best of success. Thank you.